Ko te auhaere o te pipi wharaurua, rau ko te koikoi a tēnā. He tō nei te kahuonga huru, he kukume nei te kūmara nui a Matora. Ko putua ngā rua kūmara ki ngā makuru nui o te tau. Ko eke te wā, e tahuri ai te iwi ki te hauhake i ngā makuru nui o te wānanga. Arā, ko ngā purapura o Matariki. Ko Matariki tērā e ārau mai ana i te pai, te whetū tapu o te tau. Ko Waitī kei runga, ko Whirimako Black tēnei, he tau nei, nau mai haere mai ki tā tātou kaupapa, seeds of Matariki. Auntie, tēnā koe kei te pēha.
Tēnā koe Raniera kei te tino pai a hau i tēnei rangi.
No mātou te honore, no mātou hoki te whiwhi, ko tai mai nei koe ki te tākoha, i o mātauranga i o pūkena. Engari tuatahi ake, whakamōhio mai, ko wai koe, no hea koe.
Kia ora mai, tēnā koutou e whakarongo mai nei ki tēnei o koutou uri. He uri no Aotearoa whānui. Hoi anō, ko taku kāina kei mātātua waka, kei roto o Ruatoki. Ko nai tūhoi tērā. Ka mutu mātātua whānui, te whakatohea, te whānau apanui. Ai, nā reira, tēnā koe te uri, nai ni kua mōhio a hau ki tētahi taha ou. Nō roto i a nai tūhoe, nō roto i a hāmua, i a Ngāti Mura, i Waikirikiri, te whānau kora, nā reira. Ai, kia ora mai.
Tēnā koe, Auntie. It's awesome to have you here because we have been having a lot of our own little mini podcast. When we catch up at cafes, you're there catching up with people. I always hear your voice, always hear your reo, and I'm there doing mahi. And then we end up intersecting and we have some beautiful kōrero and we talk about a variety of different things.
Sure.
And it's awesome to be connecting on those kinds of, in those spaces, on those things, and for us just to be able to do it officially. I'm really happy of the fact that you have the space, the capacity to come and share because you've experienced a lot within your life and you're beautiful wahine, beautiful reo, and you're mainly known for your waiata. And so can you speak a little bit about your upbringing and what led you to, being a kaiwaiata?
Kia ora. Kia ora. So I'm from a whānau of, there were 10 of us, 9 siblings, and I'm number 9 in the lineup of 10. Our father was a rua te kaumāwaru. Yes, from Tūhoe, from Ruatoki, from Ngāti Tūwhareto, whakatohea whānau apanui. And our mama, who was quite musical. And I get it that our auahataha, our creative side, I get that. He taonga tuku iho. It is in our pūrākau, it's in our story time, by the fire, when there's no television and we're out camping. It is, also our kapahaka. And kapahaka for me started in my whare, watching my older brothers and sisters, watching my mother tutor them with waiata that was composed by other whanauna, pene a kohine ponika, and also herself flexing her own creativity to also compose songs. So we were fortunate that it was a living, breathing thing in our whare. We actually had a little band gear set up in the lounge. Our lounge was huge. It was huge. If you weren't playing rugby, and then not me, my brothers, my 6 brothers, if you weren't throwing the football around in the lounge, there was a little band gear set up in the corner. So yeah, I was a young, impressive baby sister that watched that and wanted to participate because it looked like it was a lot of fun. And also in saying that, there are a lot of waiata that came out that was often sung at parties when whānau got together, and they were songs from First World War, Second World War. And I guess because our father didn't like to sing and never sung and wasn't encouraged to sing, I guess, because he lost his mama when he was only like 5 years old.
Wow.
In Ruatoki at the time, so my grandmother passed from tuberculosis. Koera nā mate o e rawa, ko tai mano iwa rau rua tekau mā ono was when she passed. So leaving 3 little children under the age of 5, 6. It's a great thing that my mother and father did get together, because Mum was able to share that motherly love that he missed out on, and that he could witness how she was with us.
Wow.
And after the Second World War, it was said, me hoki koutou ki o koutou whenua. But when you go back to your lands, ki o koutou marae, kia rai te mahi pepe. Make lots of children to replenish the leaders that lost their lives in the First and Second World War.
Whoa. Is that a reason why we do have big whānau Māori back in those days?
Koia.
Whoa.
Koia, what's wrong with that, baby boomer? Ka whakaaro koe nā Waitī rā kupu. You have a think about who was that intended for, to have lots of babies to replenish the losses of te iwi Māori leaders in the First and Second World War.
Wow.
And of course, tragedy goes and waiata goes all at the same time. So I do believe waiata was in elements ki te whakanui i te ahurea Māori, he elements, of course, to uplift our iwi Māori, but also as a tool for healing. By storytelling, by acknowledging your manuhiri, by sharing some of our hitori that will connect with your manuhiri through waiata. And some of those teachings was sing the appropriate way at that appropriate time. What is that? When your heart says it's good, I think it's the intention behind your voice and that connection of your heart and voice to your reo. I call it a little time that I get to be with my tūpuna when I'm singing their songs my way.
Wow. That's so beautiful, Auntie.
Thank you.
I haven't had that māramatanga before, because I have heaps of aunties and uncles who have heaps of brothers, heaps of sisters, and that never really dawned on me as to why there was a reason there was a lot of big whānau Māori. But, he māramatanga kei roto I tērā. And when we do catch up, it feels as though you're still very much so on the journey of discovery. You're leading with intention. You're still figuring out a lot of things about yourself.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Can you have a bit of kōrero around the journey that you're on, around still learning about Whirimako, and, who are you stepping into at the moment?
Okay. I think I'll go back and reflect back onto what I say to others who are just about to embark on their journey, who haven't even started. I would say just pick one thing from Te Ao Māori, just one thing, and study hard and be an authority kai kōrero on that. Just one thing. My one thing is whakapapa. I'm not even talking about waiata mō te atea. Outside of that, because I feel that is a part of me, but something outside of that. So mine is whakapapa. Why? Why did I choose whakapapa? Because it's a dreadful thing when you don't know your own whakapapa. It's a dreadful thing when you see other whānau stand up and do their whakapapa, and then you're saying to yourself, how come I don't know that? When do I start? An extremely daunting task. It should be easier today with the information on kukara. Some information there to start. Narrative just as important as whakapapa. Know your kōrero. Why? Because it builds, it gives you a backbone, it gives you strength.
Stability.
And now you've got to spend the rest of your years owning it. Learning how to own it. Yeah, without being rude to anyone, but encouraging.
That's a powerful thing to think about. Honing your craft or your interest in one area. But that kupu authority is another way of saying having confidence in what it is that you're learning there.
Koia.
Because one thing that I've been feeling into is when you're embarking on a journey of discovery, you're learning so much about yourself, or you're learning so much about what you're interested in, and you get to a space where you're full. and now you're full of all of this goodness. The next thing is to share, ne? So that's the process of confidence, of authority, is because you're full. The next thing is to serve or to contribute. Is that sort of the same kind of
yeah,
ahotara?
I'm full when it comes to whakapapa. I am full. And it's a lonely place to be, to find good whānau, good friends who have the same interests, so that you can share what you've discovered and what there is to discover. So I'm quite full with whakapapa. I'm still wondering, where's the next step from here? And growth is a journey, of course. I remember saying to my mother one day, e mā, pēhea ai ahau e mōhio ki ngā māramatanga o te ao Māori e mōhio nā koe. Mum, how can I acquire and learn what you know of our culture? How does that work? I'm 30 when I asked that question. A nei te whakautu. This was her reply. Me tatari koe kia tai koe ki te ono te kau. Ka mōhio koe. O whānau ko ono te kau mā toru kai te ako tonu. Forgive me, kai te ako tonu. But I think there's empowerment in honesty. I think when we expect, and sometimes our whānau expect us to know everything, that's a lot of pressure. And if I reflect back on what that pressure, nā kora humour, what does that pressure look like? I want to be like my mum. Mother's Day coming up. What does that pressure look like? You know the Bobo the clown with the big long shoes? You know how they go walk in my shoes? Well, that's how those shoes fit on me.
Wow.
Like clown shoes, really big, really long. So I guess that journey goes on until I can walk in those shoes and not be in denial and embrace it. But the bigger picture is about the rangatahi. I get it. But it's not to say that tātou mā past rangatahi stage, it's not to say that this kōrero and every kōrero about our old Māori is just for our rangatahi. We also need to hold that kōrero as well and learn so that we can empower our rangatahi who are just starting off, who are frightened of their old Māori. And I have felt that fear. I felt that fear in karanga. I felt that fear in leading a moteatea. I didn't feel it in my teenage years, but I fear it now.
Wow.
And I feel it now. So why is that? Because we expect so much of ourselves. But I think if we go and find out about our story, you know that story, that whakapapa, and that krauna story, what the krauna did to us, the crown did to us, I think that might help you not blame yourselves for not having enough reo.
Wow.
For feeling not enough. We just got to retrain that head to go, I'm enough.
I'm enough, ne?
I'm enough. My little bit of pito kōrero I know, it's enough.
There's a big part of what you're sharing. Is that the essence of the waiata kaiha taku reo? Is there some part of what you've been sharing, is that and you've just revamped it. So can you also talk about the waiata when you first put it out to the world, but also now the remake of it? Because obviously it sounds different now, because you're different. And so hea hae tahi kōrero e pāna ki taua waiata.
Kei taku reo. Ka noho te whakamā, the embarrassment i roto i ahau. Ka noho te whakamā e taku hoki ana mai a hitreria. I just got back from Australia. My biggest fear is that my nephews and nieces are going to show me up. Because I decided ki te haere ki a hitreria, ki te whai te huarahi o te waiata. I decided I'll go to Australia and that's where I'm going to, seek it out.
Make it
How
big.
do I make it big? Be famous. How am I going to get into the music industry? I got as far as study, but I never actually had the opportunity. And nor did I understand that I could actually create a band. None of that. None of that as a 20, 30-year-old. And that might be because of the music industry set up for tauiwitana.
Aye.
Hey, that might be why that was that difficult. I'm loving the honesty around where it's going to now, that it's okay to be ourselves. It is okay to be me, bad Māori me. That is okay. I've always been okay with being Māori. I've always been okay with that. I never wanted to be anything else. I'm happy I'm okay as Māori. What I wasn't okay is the hitori I missed out on our kōrero, what happened to us. I'm not okay with that because now we've got this big basket of information. How do we pass that to our tamariki without them carrying the hang-ups? Kei hea taku reo, where's my language? Karanga ki o ko tūpuna, to speak to my ancestors. Bit like, where's my karakia so I can speak directly? Kei hea taku reo, kia pēr taku kōrero ki aku mātua tīpuna, kua mene atu ki te pō. Why? Because sometimes the living don't get it. They don't get the struggle. We're not looking at each other. We're looking past each other. We are not feeling each other's vibrations. That's why I stop and talk with you, because I want you to know that I care about you. That's why. Ko koutou nā rangatira o a kua kene. And that's why I never got the opportunity to sit in that space, but to be a kaimahi. Not to be a rangatira, to be a kaimahi. But my mātua tūpuna say he rangatira koe. That's what it says. And I go, okay, we've got a lot to bring up and to support who we are in terms of who we come off from and what role did they play while we were getting oppressed. Ne? It might help us to understand, which is why I've done it, because I want to understand, where did this challenge come from? I had the guts to do that. Where does that come from? Is that my Ngāti Porou side? Where does that come from? Where does my worldly whakaaro come from? Is it just because my Pākehā toto, or is it because of my iwi Māori toto? Well, so I hear that they were already venturing out overseas before 1840. So I hear. So, yeah, much more to learn. When I wrote that song, Kei hea taku reo, I didn't have any confidence and I knew I had to relearn my reo when I wrote that song. So nothing better than to write a little waiata to whakakipa you, to encourage you to go there. And most of my reo was Atarani. Oh, well, actually, no, kei te he. Ko taku reo I tīmata mai te kaina. My reo started from home. Ko taku reo I tīmata mai reira. Kai au mōhio ki te kōrero Pākehā. No taku haere ki te kura auraki. I didn't know how to speak English. It wasn't until I went to primary school. Ka mau iau te reo Pākehā. Mau tonu atu ka whakarerea te reo mau. Ne, e tamariki tonu ana hau. Hoi anō, I did wear a little bit of a whakamā that my family had to work very hard to stop me speaking English in the whare as a 5-year-old.
Wow.
To stop it. Waiho tō reo Pākehā mō waho. E nare ka hoki mai koe ki te kaina when you're home.
Māori tūturu.
Koe ni tō tātou reo. I roto o Ruatoki, au e tamariki ana. My grandparents looked after me for a while my parents worked at Tasman. I was a kid. I had never heard English. In fact, I was oblivious that we're Pākehā around in town in Whakatane. What I do remember was an Italian whānau that spoke Māori at the fish and chip shop, Barnacles in the Strand. Māori love going to me. E mōhio nōna ki te kōrero Māori. Tō pirania e kui kai te pēhea koe tēne. Pirania te hei ra. Pirania te māhuna I kara. I tāri ana tērā.
One thing that keeps coming to mind is things have changed a lot since those times. I Auawa, where you were speaking about you had to fight to be an artist, to waiata, to kōrero Māori. And now you're seeing a reanga because of all of the big mahi that yourself and I'm sure many others have led. And so when you see the changes in the industry or you see the changes in time, one thing that I've got here as a pātai is what are the things that you like about the change, but also what are some of the things that you dislike about what you're seeing?
What I love about the change is there are so many Māori kaiwaiata. In the industry right now, there's heaps of Māori kaiwaiata on Spotify. We have a huge selection of whatever genre you like. That's what I love about it. Secondly, I see Māori faces that are working in certain places, but honestly, it doesn't move fast enough. Workshops, tito waiata. Support from kai tito waiata for newbies coming through. I got to see that this year with Perewi Hongi. My mokopuna Marekura and them were part of the newbies, and I got them to see them impart their pearls onto them as well. So I thought, wow. I had my mum. She was my big gem for me, that if I wasn't sure and I had no confidence in my own writing, I would sing her waiata and her kaupapa. Now, Mum passed 2 years ago. I shake my head because I do mahi atua mahi, holding space with oro, kia pai te putato kōrero, holding space with music. So our kai kōrero don't feel alone speaking. I think it's a lovely thing to do. This is what she spoke of. The hand games they played. The food that they had to go out and procure themselves, including when it came to us as well. So, Waitī, ne? Te wahana o Waitī, ko nā kai o nā wai Māori. What did I witness o nā kai o nā wai Māori? What did I actually do physically o nā kai o nā wai Māori? There were foods. So those who iwi who are brought up by the river, they have all the knowledge of the kai of the river, of their part of Aotearoa. Those, te moana, they got all that knowledge by te moana. So when the wai Māori me te wai moana meet each other, aua whānaura, there's an exchange that goes of kai nea. It's an exchange. In fact, our nanny, Ata, with all her beautiful kai, none of the family were allowed to eat it. It was only for manuhiri.
Wow.
I think it's a bit different today, eh? We buy us goodies and we eat it ourselves. Then when we have manuhiri, just a coffee left for them.
Wow.
Special kai, whakamara, fermented puha, miti tahu, preserved meat. Ka tahu koe te miti, now you roast the meat until it's paka, until all that momona has turned into crackling, paka. But what's left over are these balls of beef meat. And then it sits inside melted pork fat, no other fat, pork fat. And it sits in a billy there, and that's preserved miti tahu. You just go and get it and wipe the hinu off if you want, or you use that hinu for your butter on your rewina. And you can either heat it up or eat it cold. So that's a quick cold meat right there for you. Miti tahu, for big chunks of meat. We te nā mahi, me te wa mātai mahi as kids. Ka haere ana koutou te kaukau. When you go for a swim, haere hia he peke, take a sack, take a bag. Whakao kia mai he tuna. Well, of course, one has to be taught how to procure the tuna. So our nanny Ata would take us to the creek here, Ruatoki, just behind our grandfather's marae o te nuku, and the creek behind there, Ruatoki. And then our nanny would go up to the banks of the creek, and we all hop in. Of course, I just want to swim. But anyway, I'm fascinated with what's going on. And then she puts her hands to the side of the bank, right in. Yeah, nā tahata o the bank, yeah, right in. And it's all muddy and gooey and gushy, and don't worry about what's going to bite your finger. I would worry now. And then you flip it over onto the bank, upside down. When you flip it over, ka kite koe nā punua tuna, going for it. Piare. All these little eels running away. And so our grandmother would grab them. And we did the same. Yay, ka te haere mā te kaukau me te mahi tuna pera. And that method is called te whakarapu.
Te whakarapu.
Yeah, rapu here te mātauranga. Rapu. The rapu part must be the grabbing them quickly. Putting them in your bag, ko tērā. Then there's the pia tuna. Spearing. Pia. Yeah, the pia tuna. So, e haere ki a Hitereiria. I lived in Aussie for 9 years. Ka hoki mai ahau, one of the quickest ways ki te wete our townie, I runga I ahau, was to take me eeling at night to go and spear tuna. I didn't do the spearing. My job was, it's always those kind of jobs, hold on to the sack.
Mm.
They'll pass you the gaff with the eel on it, then you pop it into the sack, close it, and then pull it out. Well, you know, taku kahamataku, I was so frightened, eh? Tauni, kua roa. E wehe mai ana mai wana mauna mai tana awa. And then the tuna would grab hold of my top. I didn't even know they had niho. Grab hold of my top and I'm like,
Ka mataku are, eh?
freaking out. Honestly, I'm freaking out. That's a terrible
Iwa
job.
tau ki rā wāhi, eh?
Yeah, no, koira, eh? It made me soft. It took out that other, that you don't even think about. So ko te pia tuna tērā. And then another time, this brother Rapaira took me, we call him our bushman, because he's always stayed close to Te Uriwera. You know, he's got a lot of knowledge. Ingoa Māori mo tēne mo tērā mo te ina. Ingoa Māori mo katoa.
Nā mea katoa, eh?
Nā mea katoa. I tukuna mai we rā kōrero mai nā koraua, heri āia ki te puihi. All that kōrero came from their older korouas that would take them young up there and teach them the kōrero, the Māori name for everything that you're aware of in your environment. I loved it when you dropped those pearls. But you know, I guess the thing is for us whānau, when we do know that stuff, don't be a matapiko. Because we can't afford to do that. We cannot afford to do that from all the losses of our kōrero, of our way of being. We cannot afford pakeke mā, we can't afford to be matapiko. Tuku hia te kōrero.
Tuku hia
te kōrero.
Kia mōhi o te whānau, ne?
Kia mōhi o te whānau.
Kia kaua e mate te mātauranga.
Koia, nā kai, nā kai. Kia mōhi o ki te tiaki, te wāhi kai reira, nā kai.
All right, Auntie, there's been a big interest in Matariki, and there's been a waiata that you have been singing, and it's tini whetū. Ka taia e koe ki te kōrero, mehe mea ka taia e koe ki te waiata, me ngā whakamārama o taua waiatara.
Kia ora. Tēnei waiata tini whetū, nā taku māmana ani tuatua e tito. E pāhana ki nā kōrero, mō nā whetū, koe rau ki tini whetū maha o nā whetū. Engari e pāna ki nā kōrero, mō te ahuna mai o nā mātua tīpuna mai Hawaii ki tainua mai ki Aotearoa.
Kia konei.
Kia ukiuta. Kia ukiuta. Wei rā kōrero. I roto i nā kōrero, ka ki mai e kia hau. Mai mahara e te wā iaia, tamariki ana o ki te kore, mai mahara e te wā, nā wā o mua mōna, ka kite e nā kuia o rua tāhuna e whiriwhiri ana, e rārana i tahi whāriki mo te whare. Ana, i roto i te whakāturana o te whāriki, nā whakaniko o te whāriki o ki te atu koe, ka ki nā kuia kia ia a koe ne nā whetū ārahi mai i tō tātou waka ki Aotearoa kei runa i te whāriki nei. Nā reira, ka hahuhia mai we rā kōrero mai tērā wā iaia tamariki ana. Ka purua ki roto i tahi waiata. I tērā wā e tito waiata na taku whaia mana tonu mo tana puka. Ka urua tu tēnei waiata roto tērā puka. Mo nā tamariki o te kāreti ko te nā puka wharekura. Wait about te no nā puka wharekura. Hoi no tērā waiata, ka rongo atau, he pai tēnei waiata nā te mea he poto. Poto nā kupu. Nā reira, ka tiki nā tau te rangi, kia nā wari ai te rongo o nā kupu, kia hua roa ke tātai waiata i pēra, kia hua roa. E nari, he wāhana poto no muri mai, no nā tau muri mai, ka rongo au mō Matariki. He wāhana poto kai roto i tērā waiata, ka waiata hia nau ki te marea kau e roto i ene āhuatana no kāmera, enari. I runga i te toi ahurewa, ki te katoa, kai reira kai te prea taku kutā, kai te waiata i te waiata, ko tai ki te wāhana nei, he oro anake. Kai reira ko whakatakotoa tau taku karanga poroporo aki. I runga i nā kōrero, mō Matariki. Paku noho nei, haere atu rā koutou. Haere atu rā koutou ki te paipai tapu o Matariki. Haere atu koutou ki te paipai tapu o Rehua. E hia tau ki muri tērā, te kautau ki muri. Koera taku tiki atu i tērā kōrero, ka whakauru mai ki roto i te waiata. Nā te mea e ki ana tini whetū ki te pai, he tawhi tō ahau, ne? He tawhi tō nā whetū. I roto i etahi o tātai whakapapa, makere mai a tangotango wainui heke mai ki a tātou. Hangahia mai tātou i roto i era āhuatana. E ki ana te Pākehā, o rite nā āhuatana hanga whetū ki te tangata.
Ai,
Ki te
ko rongo i
kiko.
tērā kōrero. Ai.
Tērā kōrero. Koina, tēnā waiata paku enari a rāwana kōrero hei rangahau.
Te rangi anti, ka tae koe ki te...
Te rangi māma. Tini whetū ki te pai, tini whetū ki uta, kanapa napa mai, tawhi tō au. Te ahuna mai i Hawaii ki, kia tai, kia pai ki utai. Te ahuna mai i Hawaii ki, kia tai, kia pai ki utai. Haere atu rā koutou, ki te paipai tapu o Matariki, o Rehua. Haere atu rā koutou, haere atu rā. Kare, ko te katoa.
You got some swag when you sing, auntie. You got that swag going on, man.
Oh, Hollywood.
You take us on a bit of a journey.
That's all that jazz.
Oh, that's the gifts, eh? That's everything inside.
Yeah.
Oh, tēnā koe.
Yeah, give yourself permission to be you.
Do you feel, I runga i tērā uvuatanga? Because when I see you, e waiata ana, you just go into a zone.
I do.
You know, kua haere koe ki tētai atu wāhi, you know. You've left your physical here.
Teka tonu.
Kua tai atu koe ki te āwairua, ne?
Teka, me hara mai ko te tahia.
I was there, auntie, I was like, wow.
Kei roto nā whetū e pote haere ana. Ai.
Oh, and, you know, as this waiata has re-inspired me, what I wanted to get into was, as you see someone express their gifts, one thing you said, it's the permission there. You now have permission for you to express, because ko tērā tō taonga mo tēnei ao, ne?
Koea.
So ka kite koe i ngā whetū. I like also what you said around I reira te timatatanga o te whakapapa mo tātou, ne? Mai ngā whetū ki a tātou, mai ngā whetū ki a tātou ki uta, you know, ki roto I te whārua o Ruatoki. And e a tāhua tērā kitenga. No reira tēnā koe. And so, I just feel like I want to carry on, auntie. Because that was juicy.
You can do your scratch.
But I think just to hang around there, I mua atu tō tātou whakakapi. When we're using, I guess, the creation, and you're now inspired by your mama or this waiata, you're now bringing in more mātauranga from what you're actually learning from puka, from the kōrero that are out there now. He hanga whainga kei mua I te aroaro mo tēnei reanga e pāna ki te tito waiata, ki te mahi waiata, me te mātauranga e pāna ki Matariki. Is it bringing more life to Māori music? Is it bringing more life to Māori arts with the revitalisation of more of this mātauranga around Matariki?
He pae tēnei mea te waiata, hei whakamau kōrero. Eh? When I learnt about Hine Te Iwa, I had to write a song. How? Because I want Hine Te Iwa to be heard, koia Hine Te Iwa for our women.
Right.
For our women. If I can feel lost in the space of who I am as a female, well, I better go find it, how te mahi a te wahine. Ko ai wene wahine, I tukuna mai nā kōrero, and there was much I found. I almost feel like I've been halved. Almost feel like that my kōrero has been deliberately shut down because I might know too much. And we fear te mātauranga tētahi atu. Do we fear others' knowledge or do we embrace it and learn? And there's a wahine whakaaro and there's a tāne whakaaro. So, if a tāne wants to know about a wahine, it's tiro ki nā wahine Amerikana, haere ki te whakaaro nei nā kōrero nā wahine Māori. Pena he kōrero mō nā tāne, kaua haue haere te tiro nā kōrero nā Pākehā, haere te whakarono kai te hawa ko tāne Māori. Kei reira. Wera ātāhua tana ne, taha Māui, taha matau. Mā te rua, ka pai te haere. Hoi no me mutu tērā mahi te takataka hi wātātou mātaurana ahakoa e puta mai ana mai hea. He mahi nui tērā, ki te ako, ki te pānui, ki te noho puku. That's a lot of work, eh? That's a lot of discipline. And it's not there to be spat at, but it's there to empower not just us Māori, but others as well. Te ao katoa. Te ao katoa, other Indigenous people who too are suffering from losses of their own ahurea.
So awesome to even hear your reo and your waiata on the podcast, and just comes so naturally, and there was something that you sort of said in your kōrero, would have been near the start actually. It was, how can I share my gifts, or where did my gifts come from?
Yes.
And one thing that I've noticed in conversations with people is we feel there's a lack of talent, there's a lack of gifts, but it's there, right? There is gifts.
I don't believe it for one moment. People got to change your dialogue with yourselves. That's where healthy, man. If you chop your feet off before you even start, well, that's going to be a struggle.
Yeah. So it's actually, I like how you said that, the dialogue, ne?
Healthy dialogue with yourself.
And so for people who are listening who might not understand that concept, because I've even had kōrero with a lot of whānau, and there's even some recently who have just realized that they think a lot. They actually don't have dialogue with themselves. They haven't caught on to the awareness that there is internal dialogue. And so what are some things that could help whānau, I guess, better understand dialogue, relationship to themselves, so they can receive the gifts that were passed down, or they have come from somewhere?
Yeah, well, actually, I observed my mother talking to herself as an older one. Oh, you silly girl, Annie. Come on, Annie, get it right. I tērā wai ma te wareware ana ia, hey? I thought, gee. But I don't go, if I make a mistake, well, kia kaha whiri. I know it's uncomfortable to sit with the boo-boo, but you'll get through it. But to be honest, whānau, ka noho anau te karakia, to be honest, I have these divine drop-ins while I'm having a karakia, and I answer my own anxiety calls. And I go, wow, I need to do that more often, to find that special little space. Ki te kōrero, ki te kai whakaora, ka mutu, I'm open. The best place to do it is on a car when you're all by yourself, and you have that kōrero, ki tō, where you feel, where your energy, and where you feel you need to be grateful. Pena ko mō mātua tīpuna o tēnā, ko tēnā tonu. Pena ko te atua ko tahi tēnā, ko tēnā tonu. Pena ko nā atua katoa o te ao Māori, koe nā tonu. Engari, ia atua, ia mātaurana.
Ai.
Ne, whakaroa kia mo nā atua, I almost feel like atuatana is an authority on each taonga that the atua has ki te tuku. And no, they stay in their lanes, whānau. Better. And karakau mo te kotahi to achieve it. Ma te katoa.
Mo te katoa.
Ma te katoa to achieve. And of course, you get to share that load, not the load of mahi too, but also the load of accolades. Ne? Keeps you balanced. Even though I did a lot of work by myself, lonely space to be, but I survived it. I survived it, so.
Pai tērā kōrero.
Yeah.
I actually have always leaned back to a phrase that helps me in challenging times, because it is lonely. You go into trenches. It's a bit mamai at times, but there's a kōrero that I always lean back onto, and it's this too shall pass. And I like what you sort of said, that you've been through hard times, but you got through it, right?
I got through it.
The bad times pass.
Yeah. A lot of those bad times are fear. Apart from putting those big clown shoes on and go, I'll never fit those shoes. See, that's not a healthy dialogue.
Yeah.
I caught myself out just then. I'll never fit those shoes.
Is that because I roto I tau ake hinengaro, kei runga ake tō māma? Is that because of those shoes you're trying to fit? You seen your mum as such an inspiration in terms of, or is there something else?
So if I can say, it's the discipline that she had. It's the professional Māori profession. We're not talking about tauiwi professional Māori professional development.
What does that look like?
What does that look like? That looks like you sit in your own cocoon. Kare koe haere te rere haere te hopu nā kōrero a wētahi. And you stay in your own interest. It's a hard act to follow, man. When one is in acting, and you got a big part in acting, I've experienced this myself. You're not really meant to go and talk to the cameraman, the camera lady, or and have nothing conversation. You're not allowed to. Incubate. Discipline yourself for your mahi. And my mama was like that.
Wow. But she was the main character in her own movie, ne?
Good. I think she would have preferred her children to be in the movie. But she would be the director. Mama. She still was the director all the way through. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I have to embrace that. And I like that you caught me out. Yeah, stop talking about the clown shoes, Fetty. Look down at your own feet. It might be overwhelming for others that want to be doing what I'm doing.
That's amazing.
And I don't want them to feel uncomfortable. I want people to know I started with basically, where do I start from? How do I get into the industry? How do you write a song? And if your kete is empty, what do I write about? So I came,
interest.
Yeah, so I come back from Aotearoa to Aotearoa to fill my kete up. And on my journey, ka puta ko keihia taku reo, ka puta ko hine te iwa. Wow, I didn't even know our female goddesses were just as happening as our male gods. I didn't even know that. It was in my wānanga with mahi atu, they call it the tuakanas of females. I thought, hey, you've been halved. We've been halved, whānau. Whānau wahine mai, we've been halved. But, kia maumahara ha whānau. Ka rea nake ko nā tāne te kaipupuri nā kōrero. Mō nā kōrero tuku iho. Kai nā kuia hoki. How hai? Nā te mea kaha nō rātou te tia ki a rātou ki a roa te ora. Ka mate ana wā tātou tāne. Ko mahu e mai nā kōrero. Māne ni hei tuku.
Ai.
Nā reira, 53 te pake ki o taku korau a teino o tima ka mate. Mate tono atu e rā kōrero. He nari tō mātou kui a ata. A kua Pākehā mai tana āhua. Ne, hāwhika he tana pāpā. E nā kare te rā kui a moe te kōrero Māori. A kōrero Pākehā. Everything that came out. She was so cute, my grandmother. She was fair. She had freckles. All her siblings were fair. Her father was half caste. And she couldn't speak English. Mahi kai. Puku mahi, all there.
Oh.
Big hands like a male, big feet like a male, all there. See, my hand's a bit big too.
Mo te awhi, mo te rapu.
Oh, used to be rapu, you're right. Awhi moko puna nai ne.
One thing that I wanted to pick up on, I guess, to wrap up our kōrero was I haere koe ki ata ahitreiria. There was a yearning to find more about what it is that you wanted to do, or maybe there was a creative block. But I hoki mai koe ki te kāinga, And there you were able to reconnect to self.
That's right.
That then created a passage to the creativity, to the gifts, to then...
My old Māori as
yeah,
well.
your old
That I
Māori.
didn't know sat in that space.
And so as we think about those aspects of your journey, and then we know we're coming into Matariki and a lot of awesome things are starting to happen because of the revitalization of our reo. We're seeing a lot of champions who are Māori in so many different spaces now. Governance, creatives, arts,
True.
business. We're everywhere.
True.
And so with Matariki approaching that welcomes a new season, is there anything that you would like to share in that kind of āhua for our listeners? So kei a koe te wā, Auntie.
What am I going to share with you that I haven't shared with you? It's okay to be on this hikoi to find out who you are. And it's okay to be honest. Honesty is amazing. It just takes off all the anxiety of what you are not yet. Matariki. We're all learning together. My Matariki is going to be at Parihaka. Parihaka was on my bucket list. And yay, koe e ke taku moi a ki te haere ki Parihaka. Hoi anō ko koutou mā ko tātou mā tēnei hei hāpai i te kaupapa o Matariki. Nui atu nā kōrero e harai te ki kei te mohi au ki nā kōrero katoa kau. I don't know everything about Matariki, but I certainly am open to learn, and I love the ceremonies. I love that wahine tāne both participate i roto i a Matariki. And all the different types of kākahu that comes out at the time of Matariki, really nice too. Really nice. I'm glad that some of our whānau back at Ruatoki actually puts on a hāngi he hapi ka huraina te hapi mō Matariki. Now, it's your generation that's doing that. Your generation is doing that. And then we get invited to go and eat it. And I love that. I love that. Yeah, ko tō generation kai te mahi te rā mahi. Te hura i te hapi mō Matariki. Te tuku i nā kōrero ki nā mātua tīpuna kua mene atu i te pō. I love that. E ki hea nei tēnei wāhana. So I hear this wāhana where we are right now, ko te mātahi o te tau, the beginning of the new year. Mātahi o te tau, which is a 3 times great-grandmother of mine, that's her name, Mātahi o te tau. So this kōrero must have existed, right? Even though I don't know it, right? Kia ora.
Tēnā koe, Auntie. A tāhua atu, a tāhua rawa atu, ngā kōrero, kua hora, I runga i tēnei kaupapa o Seeds of Matariki. And I'm sure we could just babble on and babble on and babble on, but we're good at it. Because one thing that I've also noticed about you is that you're just climbing a maunga. And so many people will look at you and be like, far out. E kui, you've climbed many, you've enjoyed many views, but I'm hearing a deep desire to continue to grow, to continue to learn, to continue to connect, which is inspiring for someone like me who is in that season, and I'm looking at you and I'm like, it actually doesn't stop.
No, it
actually doesn't stop.
Nor does mothering whānau. How your kids are. No, yeah, it doesn't. Karekau.
Thank you so much for your kōrero, Auntie, for having a waiata, sharing your upbringing, connecting to Waitī roto i te whārua o Ruatoki, i raro i tō maunga, o maunga pōhatu. O tira tō huarahi, he kai waiata, mō tātou katoa, kua tuku te reo. And so, Auntie, thank you so much. Really do appreciate it.
Kei te pairua atu.
I'll play out our song, eh?
Okay.
I got a song for us to play it out, which is going to be the one that you just spoke into. So, tēnā tātou.
Tēnei whetū ki te pai, tēnei whetū ki uta, kānapa napa mai, ko kānapa napa nā kanuhi.
Tēnā tātou, e te whānau.
kia pai ki